Good morning to everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Good morning. So you can, you can send the messages in the chat. Make sure that you're sending the messages to all, not only to me privately. Although I don't mind you sending some private messages. Yeah, okay, yeah. You see, you hear me, very good. Once again, when you're in the chat, make sure that you're sending. We can send only to me. Okay, that's a strange thing. Let's check. We're gonna check all the technical issues before we start. I'll contact our technical support, but just a second. I will switch off then. I can find a private chat. Okay. Impossible to send to others. Okay, just a second. You're going to watch some nice videos now.
Exotic.
Okay, so try to send the messages now. Yay, good. Vika, I see that you can send messages. Great. Yay. Yeah, but again, I see that some people are sending still to me. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The sun is shining. We're all in a very good mood because today we're going to have our practical implications day. Today you're going to learn about how to energize your classroom management techniques, about motivation, about storytelling. So again, just like yesterday, all the ideas that you're going to see, they will be easily adaptable for both online and offline teaching, and you can steal the ideas, use them, and use them with your students. I'm absolutely sure that it will be helpful. Okay, so what are your, just type in the chat, what are your expectations from this day? What do you expect to learn today? For example, maybe you expect to get 3 practical ideas about how to manage very young learners, or you expect to learn everything about storytelling, or you just want to get some inspiration. waiting for you to type something in the chat. Storytelling and motivation, very good. Motivating teens who don't come. That's a very good thing, Scott. We're going to talk about that. Oh God. I have some screenshots about teenagers who don't have cameras. To steal as much as possible, feel free to do that. Well, we're happy to share. Okay. Okay. So I believe we can start. Steel, yes, God, steel and steel. You know, like Superman is the man of steel. We're all here in a way, super teachers, super men and women. Interactive games with adult learners. Okay, you're gonna see them as well. Okay, so let's start our conference. And our first speaker today is very energetic, and she's going to talk about how to energize your class. Our first speaker is Alexandra Fidak. She is our senior teacher in LanguageLink Krasnodar. She has got CELTA and IELTS, and one of her characteristic features that I admire is that she is very organized, energetic, and with absolutely fantastic sense of humor. Alexandra, are you here? You can switch on your video if you are ready, and tell us more about how to energize the class. Yeah, can you? No, can you? Here you go. Hello.
So, yeah.
How are you? All is fine. I'm gonna make you the give you the admin.
Okay, I will have a power.
Yeah, superpower. Good. I'm disappearing, vanishing here.
Okay, so guys, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me on Sunday. Hope everything will be okay. And so, guys, first let's check some technical issues. So, can you see? Just 1 second. Can you see my screen now? So, can you please chart? Yes. Yeah, everything okay, that's nice, guys. So it's honestly the things I'm going to talk today are very innovative, honestly. But I think that you can apply all this stuff in your online and offline classes. So I really believe that my activities that I will present today will be useful for you. And so, hello. And so, guys, firstly, let's discuss this question. Hello. The first thing I would like to ask you is please use our chart and write down some comments about the question. Why sometimes, maybe not sometimes, but why do our students feel apathetic and maybe tired? So please share your ideas about it, please. Too many, a lot of homework. Yeah. Why not really? What else, guys? Why do they experience lack of energy? What else? Yeah, of course, homework really. No, yeah, maybe no motivation. After work, yes. First here. The type of task we give, yeah. Not motivated. Routine task, yes. Today we're going to bring. The topic is not interesting. Yes, that's right. Where is the emphasis? Yep, Scott, absolutely agree with you. Boring lessons. grammar is difficult. Oh, okay. So guys, thank you for ideas. That's cool. Yes, and I have the same opinion as you. So, but I decided to organize my thoughts about it into two sets of reasons. So firstly, guys, there are reasons that are difficult to avoid. For example, it is just the last hour of the day and your students, they do not feel energized. Maybe it is just Friday afternoon and you can think only about going home and taking bath and just relaxing. Or also, guys, humans are humans, and so that is why students and teachers as well, they just get tired and sleepy after lunch. Yes, humans' nature like that. Or maybe it's just Monday and you get Monday mood, and that's the reason. Also, there are some reasons I do believe we can anticipate and some problems that we can solve here. So yeah, as you mentioned in the chart, the content of the lesson can be boring. Like listening is not interesting, or the text is not interesting, or in general something that is not. Another idea is that the content is not relevant to your students. In this case, I'm talking about mixed ability classes, because if the student is bright and activity is too easy, of course the student will get bored. Or, on the other hand, if the student is not so bright, yep, again, and activity is difficult for him or for her, again, lack of energy. Or, guys, one more idea is that just you as a teacher have been talking for a long time, and again, it's not good. So I think that you should bear in mind that sometimes it's just like close your mouth like that. And what can we do? Yes, what can we really do with it? And the first idea that I have for us is let your students move. Really, it will energize them. But here I have something specific for you. Brain breaks. Again, can you please write down your ideas about it? What is brain break? How do we use it? Do you use them if you know about them? So please write down your ideas. Physical activity, yeah. What's particular about that physical activity? What else is there? Oh, the sound. To put maximum. Son, sort of jokes, right? I can't use physical. Why can't we use? Something else, guys? Maybe brain break. What is it? I love it. Yeah. Some people say that kids, sorry, adults, they just big kids. So guys, any other ideas about brain breaks? That depends. Yeah. Can be brain break. Okay, so guys, thank you for your ideas. And look here that I have. One more idea is here. Singing maybe, yes, singing, why not? So guys, brain, one more idea. And let's do the last one, board game. Yeah, why not, why not? So brain breaks, they include active physical activities or maybe relaxing activities. Very good idea to use them during the lessons because they can help the students reduce stress and also to make them more concentrated on the lesson. So in here I have some ideas with you. Look, So for example, this one. Have everyone stand up and rub their head while painting with a tongue. So guys, believe me, it is really challenging. So can you please now try to do it right now and comment on the chart, like, is it easy or is it difficult to do it? So try this one, guys, really try it. So rub your head, yeah, while patting your tummy. So try it. So yeah. That's cool. Yes, this one is it. Okay. And so here, well done, Tati. Yeah, that's cool. So, just 1 second. How to introduce this activity? Just do this, and that's all. So one more idea, guys. You have students use their finger to draw pictures or maybe spell words for the partner in there, and they can take turns guessing that is being spelled or drawn. So for example, guys, just 1 second. Yeah. So guys, what is this? This one. What is it? Like, so, what your ideas? What am I spelling now? So any ideas about it? And this one is a language link. Yeah, of course, language link. So, but this one is very useful in your online classes. As for offline classes, you can use this one. Just write down, yes, something on your partner's back. Something on your partner's back, and again, students have to guess what was it. One more idea is Simon Says. So guys, I think that you know about it, and I think that you really use it, and students like it. So, but don't forget about this activity even in online classes. The same, you can say something like, Simon says to touch something blue, yes, and students have to find blue object in their room and touch it. Or, for example, Simon says touch the fridge, like this one. So again, don't forget that this one can be used in online classes as well. One more idea is a special website. Look here, I'll show you the website. Just 1 second, please. So guys, do you see? So do you see my screen now? Yes, please very quickly, so chat it. Yep, that's cool. Now guys, look, just 2 minutes for relaxation. Just 1 second. So do you hear the sound, guys? Do you hear the sound? Yeah, so I think that it's really cool. Yes, just relax, do nothing for 2 minutes, and energize it here. Very cool, I think. So, also, yeah. So one more idea. Again, this one is very, very simple. But anyway, just rub their hands together until they warm them up. Yep. And then to close their eyes and place their hands over their eyes. Again, like this. Very easy, but it's very useful, I guess, because you can recharge your students in that way. So like meditation. Yes, really. So, one more activity, guys. But this one, again, you can still hear. Yeah. That's perfect. Okay. Okay. So that is one more activity. This one is the short poems. But the point is that you should add some activities to this one. So, for example, guys, this one is here, like boom, boom, boom. I am in my room. Boom, boom, boom. Opening my Zoom. Stop. This is my laptop. I'm fine, really fine. Let's study online. I think that's a great idea, and you can start your lesson by doing it, and your students, yeah, they will be full of energy after this one. So good. Thank you for the chart. So one more activity, guys, to energize your students and to do some physical activities is one. Looks like a spell. Yes, it looks like a spell. Okay, so it's one more. So this one, in this case, so stand up, yep, sit down, clap, 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 point to the window, point to the door, point to the left, point to the floor, stand up, sit down, clap, clap, clap. Again, guys, very easy as you see, but very useful. We add physical activities because we, as a teacher, I do believe we also should take care about our students' health. Yeah, great one to start the lesson, I think. Yeah. Also, guys, one more idea is how we can recharge, but like do not use our body, just use our brain, is brain teasers. Again, so in a chart, can you please write down what brain teaser is, in your opinion? Brain teasers. And I have kind of puzzle, quiz, crossword. Here. Riddle. Or search. Cool. Job dictionary. Yeah. Names. Maybe even right. Yes, okay, thank you for ideas here. Really, you're absolutely right about brain teasers. I have this nice definition. So brain teaser is a type of riddle that makes one think outside the box. And so guys, let's try some of them. Again, use the chart to write down your answers. Look here, I'm not alive, but I have 5 fingers. What am I? What is your answer here? So, who is the smartest cookie? No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not an exact no. Not a lie. Oh no, yeah, it's a lie. Yeah. So sorry. A glove. Yes, a glove. Unfortunately, it's not a zombie, but it's a glove. Yep. So let's try this one. Yeah. What about this one? People buy me to eat, but never eat me. What am I? Oh my. So what about this one, guys? Yeah. Spoon. What else? Spoon. Never eat it. Okay. So fork. Yeah, guys, I think fork and spoon are possible, of course, but also you can say plate. Yes, again, we buy plates to eat, but we never eat them. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's cool. So guys, let's take one more. Which hand is the best for stirring sugar into a cup of tea? So what about this one? Yeah, Victoria, yes, that's a spoon, teaspoon, of course, right? And if I'm not mistaken, I have one more. Yeah. What about this one? Is it challenging for us? In the first answer. Fire. Yeah, that's a fire. That's right. That's a fire. What about this one? That's a shade. Yeah, that's right. Darkness. Yeah. Shadows. Yeah, shadows. So guys, that's cool, really. So as you see, yeah, this is a, because thank you for your opinion. It's just easy, yeah, but it's useful again, as I said earlier. So you can Google it. There are lots of them on the internet, but just use it. That's the only idea. And I think it's also great with adults, not only with the kids or teenagers. So one more idea is how to energize your class. But in this case, we are going to speak about not only online classes, but about offline classes as well. Have you ever heard about grass skirt? I see, I show it to you, so grass skirt. Do you use grass skirt? Sure, yeah. Yes, yes. Uh-huh. Because as for me, I really like it because it can make boring activities from the course book energizing. So, for example, I have an activity in the course book such as boring as true or false, for example. Yes, have it, or after this, let's have it. So I just type the sentences. Yes, this is like 5 sentences from the course book. Yes, then I print it, cut it out, put this grass skirt on the board, for example, or maybe even in the corridor. And so students have to run one by one, take a piece of it, come back to the partner, discuss it with the partner, and so then do it one more time, again and again. So this one is really energizing because I noticed that if I just ask my students to do true or false activity in their course book, they like that, they don't like it, they don't want to do it. But if I show them the grass skirt, they are absolutely happy about it. So one more activity. So guys, what about this one? Do you use this one? My favorite. Really, because as you can see from the picture, yeah. Never used, but I think after this we will use it. So as we see in front of the board, there are some cards with English words, and I guess that teachers can give some definitions, yes, and the students just have to hit the word with the fly swatter. So you can make it in form of competition, and again, it's energetic because students will move, and it makes some simple and some boring exercises more interesting for your students. Okay, what about this one, guys? Any ideas here? What can you do? Yeah, the flashcards as well, yeah. What about this one? You pick two, guys. Hot potato, right? How can we use hot potato in the classroom? Do we need only the ball for it or maybe something else? Yeah, pass the ball while music is playing. Yeah, absolutely right. Yes, and maybe say a word. Or maybe guys answer the questions. Yeah, unfortunately, grass skirt is not a good idea here. Yeah, but this is just like some ideas that you can also use in your real classes, of course. So guys, again about hot potato. Yes, you need to use it honestly, and you pass the ball. The students have to pass the ball while music is playing. I usually use it when I feel that my students are shy to speak. I print some questions for them, and if I want them to speak, they usually do not speak. They feel shy about speaking. But if we use the ball and if music is playing, it's easier for them to get into the mood and start speaking. Yeah, again, unfortunately, it's not for online, but anyway. One more, and whiteboard. Yeah, maybe mirror some kind of that, but the white words. Guys, do you often use them? All the time. Yeah, vocab dictation. Yes, that's right. Even my adult students, they adore it. And even sometimes they ask me, Alexandra, when will we use whiteboards, mini whiteboards? I don't know why, but there is a kind of magic about using whiteboards during the lesson. So students really like it. And you can set the task in the code book, like do something in the code book or do something in their copybooks, and students will get bored. But if you use the whiteboard, it will be interesting for them. Magic. Something else, guys, that is useful for online classes. Look, guys, please now pick up the nearest object you can reach with your left hand. So please pick it up and write out the object that you have. Top and bottom. Phone. What's the water? Cushion. Left hand, guys, left hand. Mm-hmm. Coffee. Mm-hmm. Because the idea is that you, with your students, yes, you should reach. uh-huh. Okay. Because the idea is that when students get their object, uh, they should advertise their objects to their partners. And this one is really engaging for them, and to just use it, really. Believe me, and you will see that students will enjoy it. One more activity, speaking online, how to make it more interesting. Find three objects that can tell us something about you. Yes, for this activity, it is better to give students maybe just like 2 or 3 minutes to find something interesting that is really personal. So I think so. 3 objects. You can ask them to bring more objects, but anyway, I think that 3, yeah, 3 is just enough. Yeah, tell us something personal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, quite good to use it as an icebreaker. Mm-hmm. And okay, again, guys, with your students, you will use breakout rooms, yes, to tell about the subject. Okay, so one more idea for online speaking is go and find 3 different objects. Again, in this case, it's better give your students like 2 or 3 minutes to find different objects. I usually set the limit. For example, one object should be black, one object should be red, and one object should be blue. So any color you like. So students have to find these objects, but the idea is that they do not show them. Then in breakout rooms, students work together, I mean in pairs or maybe in groups, and so they have to describe the object, and the other students should guess what the object is. So again, very useful activity, I think. So, so as for me and for my students, they came back. Yes. Okay, so one more question again about energizing the students, about simple ways to do it. So how often do you use music in the classroom? Again, share your ideas about it. Seldom. Why seldom? Yeah, all the time, the weekends, yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So guys, as for me, I use songs. Yeah, songs. Uh-huh. So we are open. Uh-huh. Doing competitions. Mm-hmm. What about speaking activities? What about writing activities? Do you use music? Writing, right? Uh-huh. So guys, as for me, I use background music just in every single lesson. Yeah, for visualization. So, but the choice of the music depends on my aim. For example, if I want to energize my students, I will use jazz music. If I wanted to make my students more concentrated on something, of course, I will use classical. So honestly, there are only three criteria for that. So just your aim, just to energize or not. Also, the melody should be gentle and simple, and it's better to use only instrumental music. And so, guys, I'd like to share. 1 second. I'd like to share the melody that I have. So please listen to the melody and write your opinion about it. Is it good melody? Do you like it or not? Second. No? Oh, just 1 second. Sorry. Mm. Oh, guys, just for some. How do you find them? Yeah, just guys, I'm gonna answer that question, but just 1 second. Problem. Uh-huh. Guys, hope you see my screen now. Because I use it just to go down music. Yeah, I think sometimes it's better to discuss with students like, what about music? Would you like to listen to some background music? So that's not just from the beginning to the end of the lesson. That's just for some parts of it. For example, Veronica, as I saw in the chart, like you can use it just like background music for speaking activities, for writing activities. Yeah, of course that depends. Depends, but in general, people like, yes, in general. Yeah, of course you can find something else. And there was a question: how do you find them? Uh, Look here. This one is just YouTube. Yes, bossa nova jazz, and here like 2 hours of background music, guys. And the melody is very gentle and simple. So on YouTube you can find work jazz, solid jazz, like there's different kinds of melodies, and I think you will find something that is really good. So yeah, that depends. That depends, guys. That depends. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. But as for my students, they got used to listening to music, and that is why that is comfortable for you. So listening, yeah. So I also like rock music. Okay. So one more idea how to energize your class. It is just change the routine. Really, just change the routine, because sometimes the only thing we have in our class is to break the routine and to do something new, to try something new, or maybe just change the routine, just change the usual way we do something. For example, guys, tongue twisters. How often do you use tongue twisters during the lessons? So what about tongue twisters? And how do you use them? Quite often, hardly ever. Shells. Hardly ever. Still time consuming. Yeah, maybe every lesson. Both. As a competition. Believe me, it's really something that you should give a try. Yeah. So guys, tongue twisters. Usually what I see, teachers just write down the tongue twister on the board and that's all. But what can you do? Look here. There's some pictures, yes, and so I decided to code the tongue twister. So look at the pictures and guess what tongue twister is. So here we have. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is about size. So elephant is big. It's big. Yeah, two tigers. Two tigers. That's right. Yeah, two tigers. But what about size? Tiny. Yeah. Tiny. Because that's tongue twister. Yes, we should practice certain sounds. In this case, it sounds tough. Two tiny tigers takes two Texas to town. Again, guys, this is just a new way for us. Let's try one more. Tongue twister. Look here. What's the idea? How did I change the routine? That's cat. Like, Where is the cat and what is in front of the cat? I was like, my cat. Chicken. Good. Chicken. Some control. So guys, so chicken is good. What else? Kitchen. Chicken in the kitchen. Yeah, chicken in the kitchen. That's right. Now guys, look at me. What's the word? Yes. But in the past. What about? Yeah, cat, but like a baby cat. Kitten, yes. And so I saw, yeah, a kitten. What is next? What about this? In the kitchen, it would be in the at the end of the sentence. I saw a kitten in the kitchen chewing. What chewing? In the kitchen. Yes. So guys, this one is I saw a kitten eating chicken in the kitchen. So like this one. I think it's some kind of puzzle again, yes, for our students. But I saw a kitten eating chicken. Yes, Helena, that's absolutely right. So I think it's just a good way to firstly to energize the students, and also I think it's a good way to make your lessons more student-centered, not teacher-centered. Yes, not just like you write the tongue twister on the board, but you this activity, I do believe it's some kind of thought-provoking activity. And you can yeah, it's one more fun twist from Juliana, yeah, but as anyway, I think you can adaptate some fun twisters, just find good pictures. So, oops, again, guys, that's a problem. Just 1 second. Oops, sorry for the pause. So guys, what about dictations? How often do we use dictations? What about dictations? And how to respond? Okay. Okay. And do you organize? So, guys, have you ever organized dictations online? Right. Yep. Okay. So, guys, look. One way to organize dictation online, offline as well. Look, this one is a mutual dictation. Look, mutual dictation. The idea is that you find a short text, not so big, yeah, and you give each student a different sentence from this text in any order, guys, in any order. Then each student dictates a sentence to others, yes, and the others write them down. Then you put students in groups or maybe in breakout rooms and ask them to reconstruct the story. I think it's a very good idea. Firstly, we change the routine, and secondly, again, it makes the lesson more student-centered, yes, and we break the routine, and it gives us energy. One more idea. So there's one more idea. Have you ever heard about Palmanism? What about Palmanism, guys? Good one. Yeah. But the idea is that you can use Palmanism also. Yeah. Okay. The idea is that we can use Palmanism also in our online classes. For example, you can, just a second, you can use this site, matchmemory.com. I'd like to demonstrate it. So guys, I hope you can see it. For example, it's about irregular verbs, this one. So verb come. Now I think that the second form is came, yes, and I think it is here. Oh, no, that's not. As you see, it was again, yeah. So now, maybe this one. No, not this one. Okay, so maybe this one, at, and let's try this one. Bye-bye. Yeah, you see, this one is a match. The good thing is that you can create your own. You can create your own game here. This one is a create. And so here, as you see, all that you need. So the title, number of cards, the layout, the theme, the color, the text size, so everything, the word list. So here you can create your own game. So let's take one more. What about names? Yeah, really. do you often use them? That's my left. Yeah, this one is very nice, but really, do you often use NAMs during the lesson? Hmm. Because try, really, guys. So guys, if you use it, how do you use it? So guys, how do you use NAMs? Please answer that question. Roma Ashbek, yep. Veronica, how do you use it? Look, Scott, you can use it as a warmer, as an icebreaker at the beginning of the lesson. Just show a funny picture. Look at Veronica's ideas. So you give them a list of words to learn. Yep, and what is next? Plus NAM. Yeah, it was some kind of encouragement for NAM for the students. It was an angry dog and it was a happy dog. And like angry dog is your teacher if you don't learn the vocabulary, and happy dog is your teacher if you learn the vocabulary, like this one. I think you can use it as motivation as well, but also like to be interesting for your students, you can use them just communicate it with them like that. And ask to complete, yeah, maybe. As for me, I mostly use NAMs just for fun, just to relax and laugh. Yeah, for classroom management as well. Okay, so guys, thank you for your ideas. Yeah, speaking activities as well. Yeah, I have seen some teachers who use it for speaking. Yeah. And so guys, also, energetic teacher. I think that the key point is that teachers, if they want to make, or if they want to energize their students, they have to be energetic as well. So as for me, I'm really energetic, and in my classes, I usually do not sit. I usually stand up and walking around the classroom, and my students got used to it, and they really like it. And sometimes now, when we have online classes, they tell me that, oh, we miss our real classes, yeah, because we do not see you moving around the classroom. So that is why I do believe that if you wanted to energize, you have to be an energetic person. Also, my dear teachers, please, don't forget about some kind of self-care rules for educators. Students might get busy. Look, so really, take care of yourself. Yes, remember to stay fresh. Use positive self-talk. Take a break when you need a break. Maybe read a good book. Relax. Spend time with your friends and with your family. So we have plenty of time to do it now. Yes. So don't forget about eating well. Yes. Bring healthy snacks and meals. Spend less time on social media if it's possible. So guys, I think it's very simple, but you have to be energized as well, yeah. So guys, I guess that's the end of my presentation. No time for anything. Yeah, but maybe try to relax, try to relax, try to find some time to relax, to energize yourself, to recharge. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, thank you. Yep, and so don't forget that if you wanna know something more, join us, join Language Link, follow the link. So Tatiana, are you here? Old court and the gentleman, of course, yes. Yeah, okay. Just 1 second, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So Tanya.
Yeah, hello. Thank you very much. That was so interesting. Just to sum up all the ideas, so what is your overall advice for teachers who want to make their lessons energetic and keep sane?
I think the key point is break the routine and do something new. Just do something new because it's very, very useful, I think.
Yeah, breaking the routines. On the one hand, routines are very useful and important, but on the other hand, we need to break the routines. Great ideas. Speaking about the routines, here is another master. Sasha, thank you very much. A lot of ideas. Just when we were taking pictures of your presentation, our students will be happy. But we're going to talk about how to establish routines. And Yulia Bakumova is our teacher, our CELT P tutor. She's got different Cambridge exams, CELTA Young Learners, perfect professional. If you look at this angel, you will never guess that she is a real monster in classroom management. You will see how cool she is in organizing the students. Please enjoy our next session. Yulia is going to speak now.
Okay, so fine. Hello, everybody. I'm very honored to be a part of this conference and to share some of my knowledge, my expertise with you. I hope that you will find some of my advice very practical and some of this you can apply in the classroom. So, well, just a moment. Let us start with that. Okay, no, I'm sorry. One more sec. So first of all, it is well known that there are 7 so-called principles which lay in, let's say, organizing the classroom for very young learners. They are so-called 7 R's. So can you think of these 7 R's? What can they be? Just type your ideas in the chat. Just some 7 R's. 1 R stands for, okay, I'll help you. So 1 R stands for routine. We talked about it. It's very important for young learners' classroom to establish certain routine so the children feel safe in the class. Rules, all right, respect. Okay, so we have reward. That's right. Anything else? Research, well, can be, although it's not in my presentation, but I totally agree. Responsibilities, okay, reflection, result, yeah, okay, so repetition, maybe still all ideas are quite valuable in this case, but let's see what's here. So the key 7 R principles, just a sec. All right, so I have here, what I have here is routines, we talked about it, then rules, rewards, we also have this idea, then relationships, you must establish very trustful and strong relationship with very young learners so that they can trust you, just maybe as well as they can trust to your parents, to their parents, sorry. So then respect, also we mentioned that. Responsibilities, sorry, it's not very clear here, but responsibilities and rights. Of course, you must respect your young learners' rights. Okay, so to begin with, routines. I'm sorry, guys. So a good idea to begin your class with asking them to give you a password. For example, you are doing some vocabulary in the class, or it can be some, I don't know, structures like I have got, or maybe I can. So at the end of the class, you can introduce the password. You can write the phrase on the board, or it can be just a flashcard or a picture of something, for example, apple, car, whatever you are doing in the lesson. And you, together with the class, you repeat a short chant to remember the password. It sounds like that. Let me turn it on.
Listening.
Password, password.
What's the password? What's the password today?
Dog.
Pardon?
Dog.
Pardon?
Dog.
All right. So you don't have to do it with music, actually. Oh, sorry. Okay, so for example, you say it like that. The password is apple. So you say, password, password. What's the password? What's the password today? Together they say, apple. First quietly, you say, pardon, apple. Pardon, apple. Shh. So you do it together with the whole class to make sure that they remember the password well. Next time, before they enter the classroom, sorry guys, I have a chat here. So before they enter the class the next time, you just put them in front of the door in the line and you ask them to whisper the password on your ear. So if they can remember the password, then they can enter the class. But of course, there can be a problem that some children were absent at the previous lesson, or they may just have forgotten the password. In this case, the child who forgot the password goes to the end of the line and his classmates secretly whisper the password on the child's ear so that he can remember it and come into the class. So that is a very good way, very practical one to make them remember the vocabulary that you are doing in the class. And again, it's the element of game, some fun element in the class. Another idea, you can use a motion chart. For that, you take a big sheet of paper, you divide it in small grids, where on the top you have, at the top you have days of the week, like for example, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or you have the dates in the month where you're going to have classes with the group. And here you have the names of children in the class. So when they enter, they draw their emotions, how they feel before the class. Yeah, before that you may want to pre-teach emotions and use special, like icon, special symbols for that. Of course, it's like smiley face, or can be sad face, or like a thirsty one, a face with a glass of water next to it, or like a face with a hamburger next to it, which means hungry. So that's what I usually do. I pre-teach emotions almost in the first lesson with my young learners, so that at the beginning of the class, they draw how they feel. It can be a happy face or sad face. You may want to split this grid for each child into two parts with a diagonal line. So at the top, they draw how they feel at the start of the class. So it's also a good way to see how they really feel. And if you see that the child has some emotional difficulties, he's upset with something, So you can cheer the child up during the lesson, which is also like you show them that you really care. And at the end of the class, they draw how their mood has changed, or if it hasn't, you just see the positive smile again. So the next thing, which is also very important, it is greeting song, a goodbye song. Speaking about routine, I think it's very nice that during a month you use the same greeting song so that they can get used to it and they can learn it quite well. And for example, after some period of time, you can change it and choose a new one. There are plenty of them on the internet, especially. I have some questions here. I'm sorry, I do not follow the chat. A whiteboard in Zoom, you mean for drawing the emotion chart? I'm sure you can. Yeah, you can like write a name of a child and ask them to write their emotions there next to their names. All right, so as for, greeting songs, I have an example here. Okay, please work. So you can start, please come back. Especially it would work well for Zoom classes. You start like that. Hey class, who can you see? And for example, I say, I can see Masha looking at me. Then together with the whole class, we say, Masha, who can you see? And she says, I can see Alex looking at me. Then, for example, it's Alex's turn and he says, we say again all together, Alex, who can you see? I can see Lily looking at me. And that goes round and round till we kind of say hello to everyone in the class. So that's just an example of a greeting song. All right. And goodbye song. Again, there are plenty of them together with the short videos on YouTube, and you can choose anything you like. But this is the one which I liked like best, because here you can have different language or different expressions for saying goodbye, and you just look at different animals. You can also use pictures or flashcards of these animals, and you can also accompany it with some actions. For example, see you later, alligator. After a while, crocodile. In an hour, sunflower. Maybe two, kangaroo. Gotta go, buffalo. Adios, hippos. Chow, chow, brown cow. See you soon, baboon. Bye-bye, butterfly. Better shake, rattlesnake. Have a kiss, jellyfish, and so on. Maybe you can choose just one and like say it again during a month, like bye-bye, butterfly. So just a funny phrase to use. All right. So, then another activity, maybe it is very similar to what Sasha has told us, how to energize them or how to give them a shake, but also you can use it as a warm-up at the beginning of the class. And it works well in Zoom, because for online classes it's nice. That is an explosive stopwatch. Just a sec. So I usually set a limit of 30 seconds here. And within 30 seconds, I ask them to name 5 of something. I sometimes tell them then otherwise their computer is going to explode, maybe, which is a very bad thing of me to do, but it just makes everything more crucial, you know. They try to do it in time. Okay, so here is a small task for you guys. In 30 seconds, can you please write 5 things that you can do with your students online? Ready, steady, go. Or your computer is going to explode. I'm joking. So quickly, tell stories, good. 4 more things. Chat, study, drink coffee, use mirror, okay, fine. Discuss, read, sing, translate, okay. Okay, fine. I'm not going to explode your computer. Okay, so one more example. So that is what I do with my, okay, not very young learners, but with like junior learners. So can you tell me 5 things that you can do only in the winter? Let's try. I'm sorry, there. Okay, ski and ski and skate. Make a snowman, all right. Play snowballs, okay. Dream about summer, I like this one. Okay, fine. So we already have five ideas. So that is how it works. And actually, it gives my class a lot of fun, or it brings fun to my class. Fine. So the next thing is activity rhymes. So sometimes you need to make the transition from one activity to another one very smooth, or so sometimes it is very important to tune your students into the new activity. For that, you may use special activity rhymes, which help them to understand what's going to happen next, and well, which is a part of creating safe environment for young learners. They are very simple but practical. For example, if you are to color or draw something, then you can say, table time, draw and color, everyone. So they know that it's time to take their pencils, put them on the desk, or to find their notebooks and open them. Or it's story time, look and listen, everyone. So they sit still, maybe some of them really wait for this activity to start, because we know that children, they really like storytelling. Another one, everyone listen to me, you need pencils, 1, 2, 3. In this case, again, they know that they're going to color or draw something. Okay, this one, just to make them go back to their seats, you say, be at your seats when I'm done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm done. And make sure that everyone's under a place. Well, actually, it really works. When they hear you start saying these words, they just, in a rush, move to their, or quickly run to their seats. All right, another one. It is important because you know that sometimes it's a complete mess in the classroom. I mean, their bags are on the floor, their pairs of their changing shoes are somewhere on your table, then you have pens and pencils scattered around the class. So you may want to say, when you are there, look at your chair. It means that everything must be on its place, like pencils in the pencil case and on the board. Notebooks or students' books in the backpacks if you don't need them at the moment. All right, and another thing, especially I believe it is topical question in winter when they are sitting on their jackets or they are holding their jackets like that. You may want to say, before you sit down, take a look. Are your things on a hook? So if you want them to put your jackets on their place. All right, so that is about activity rhymes, and I believe it is practical. It really works. Moment. So, okay, another thing which is very important, and sometimes when they are working long and hard, they really need time to relax, or like, so to say, have a break for their brains. In this case, finger plays and nursery rhymes may help. Some people may think that nursery rhyme is a kind of old-fashioned thing, but I believe there's a reason why they are with us for such a long time. So let us begin with some simple finger plays, which you can use as a transaction from one activity to another, or like a mind break, or like a brain break in your class. So this one is quite simple but nice, about the turtle. You ask them to show a turtle. A turtle looks like that. You say, show me a turtle. Here's your turtle. Here's your turtle. He lives in a shell. He likes his home very well. When he gets hungry, he comes out to eat. Then he gets back into his house to sleep. So you can perform it together with the kids. They can learn this poem by heart, which is short and nice, and it'll give them a lot of language practice. Another thing, okay, so that is again, you use your fingers for it. You put them here, and you start like, creep them, creep them, creep them, right up to your chin. Open up your little mouth, but do not let them in. And you hide your hands behind your back. Then you start like that. Falling, 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 almost to the ground. Quickly put them up again and turn them round and round. Faster, 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 slowly, 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 faster, 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 faster. So you do it like that. That is a lot of fun and actually really a real break for the brain. Okay, then another one is Miss Molly had a dolly. All right, so you pretend that you have a little dolly in your arms and you start rocking her like that. Miss Molly had a dolly who was sick, sick, sick. So she called for the doctor to come quick, quick, quick. The doctor came with his bag and a hat, and he knocked on the door with a rat-a-tat-tat. He looked at the dolly and he shook his head, and he said, Miss Molly, put her straight to bed. He wrote on a paper for a pill, pill, pill. I'll be back in the morning with the bill, bill, bill. So you can do it like that. All right, another one. This little girl and this little boy. For that, you may want to draw a little face on your finger. So that is like a little girl, right? So they can really imagine the story. This little girl is ready for bed. On the pillow she puts her head. Wrap the covers around her tight. That's the way she spends the night. Morning comes. She opens her eyes. She jumps out of bed. Oh, look, here she is. Let's give her breakfast. Something nice and healthy to eat. Let's brush your hair, brush your teeth, wash your face, put your clothes on. Don't forget your backpack. Now she's ready and on her way to work and play at school all day. So the same with this little boy. Again, you may want to draw the face, eyes, mouth. You may ask your children to do the same, and that will be so cool because it's so rebellious to draw on your hands. No, none of the parents would allow this, but you do, so that would be nice for them. This little boy is ready for bed. On the pillow he lays his head. Wrap the covers around him tight. That's the way he spends the night. Morning comes, he opens his eyes. Off with the toss, the covers fly. He jumps out of bed. Again, we should brush his hair, give him his breakfast, wash his face. Let's put his clothes on, his shorts and his t-shirt. Don't forget his backpack. Now he's ready and on his way to work and play at school all day. All right. So another one is about two little blackbirds. That is a very nice one to teach them opposites, opposite pairs of adjectives. And it works like that. So we have two little blackbirds here. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill. One named Jack, one named Jill. Fly away, Jack, fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack, come back, Jill. And again, two little blackbirds sitting on a pole. Well, you can use hill or pole. Pole rhymes with other adjectives, so maybe pole is better. One named fast and one named slow. Fly away fast. Fly away slow. Come back fast. Come back slow. Like that. So that is fast and slow. Another one. Two little blackbirds sitting on a pole. One named high and one named low. Fly away high, fly away low. Come back high, come back low. So that is high and low. Another one. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill, one named Loud and one named Quiet. Fly away loud, fly away quiet. Come back loud, come back quiet. One more. Two little blackbirds sitting on a gate, one named Early, one named Late. Fly away early, fly away late. Hey, late, fly away, you're late. Come back early, come back late. Hey, late, come back. Okay, late is late again. Another one. Two little blackbirds sitting on a hill, one named Happy, one named Sad. Fly away happy, fly away sad. Come back happy, come back sad. All right, you can actually do whatever you like, any pairs of adjectives which you want to teach them. All right, well, the next one is hickory dickory dock. Nastya, sorry, I do not read the chat. Okay, the teacher has to remember, but believe me, that is very easy to remember. That's why these nursery rhymes and this finger plays are around for so many years, because they just stuck in your mind and it's very hard to get rid of it afterwards. So believe me, it's not hard to remember. You can choose one nursery rhyme and do it for 2 weeks or maybe more, between some activities, yeah. Believe me, they will remember it, because my daughter, who's 3-year-old, she's one of my best students, and she remembers it after I repeat it 2 or 3 times. Leaving alone elderly students of 5 or 6 years old, they remember it so fast that you cannot even imagine how fast they do it. And that's great, because when they come back home from the class, they can cite these rhymes to their parents, and their parents feel really kind of that there is use of your English classes, that it actually works good, and they really learn something in the classes. All right, so about hickory dickory dock, it goes like that. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran up the clock. The clock strikes 1, the mouse runs down. Hickory dickory dock. Hickory dickory dock. The mouse runs up the clock. The clock strikes 2. The mouse says, phew! Hickory dickory dock. And again, hickory dickory dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock strikes 3. 1, 2, 3. The mouse goes, whee! Hickory dickory dock. And again, hickory dickory dock. The mouse ran up the clock. The clock strikes 4. The mouse cries, no more. All right. Then another one. Sorry, guys. 5 little hot dogs. All right. So that is about hot dogs frying in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. 4 little hot dogs frying in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. 3 little hot dogs frying in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. 2 little hot dogs frying in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. 1 little hot dog frying in the pan. The grease got hot and it went bam. No little hot dogs frying in the pan. The grease got hot and the pan went bam. Like that. All right, another one, I'm sure that you know it, and it's a very popular one, the itsy bitsy spider. You start it like that, so you put your fingers like that. Yeah, it's complicated even for adults. The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again. Now you can try the same with teensy weensy spider, which is a very small spider, and it goes like that. Teensy weensy spider went up the water spout. Down came the sun and, down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the teensy weensy spider went up the spout again. And now you can try it with big fat spider. Big fat spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the big fat spider went up the spout again. All right. So the benefits of rhymes and finger plays. First of all, they create phonological awareness, which is the ability to recognize and work with sounds in spoken language. They hear the alliteration, which is they not only look at the rhyme in the book, for example, or in the poster or whatever you suggest them, but they can also hear the words, the way they are pronounced, so they have the audio image of the word. The second thing, they learn about rhyming words, and they actually get the idea of the rhyme in the English sentence. We know that the language is very rhythmical, so it's important. Secondly, it is good for imagination, because when they speak about spiders or when they speak about this poor Miss Molly with sick Dolly, they start imagining the characters in the rhyme. Then it's auditory memory. Yeah, and believe me, it is very developed with young children, so they can easily learn these rhymes and poems and finger plays. It develops their short-term memory, although I must say, admit that all those nursery rhymes which I learned when I started learning English, when I was at the kindergarten, I still can remember them, like those about Humpty Dumpty or Salmon Grundy and other stuff. Then again, it is motor skills, yeah, when they do all these things with their fingers, and it is hand-eye coordination when they do things like that, which is important. Then it is about crossing the midline, which is very important. The midline, it's an imaginary line which goes down from the top of to the bottom of your body, and it separates your body actually into the right and the left part. So I want to tell you a bit more about crossing the midline. Crossing the body's midline, it's an important development skill, and it is important for many everyday tasks. For example, while children use their right hand to put on their socks or to tie their shoelaces, and well, it is important that they can develop this skill for their dominant hand, which is usually right hand, yeah, when they reach across their midline to do something, because sometimes children tend to do things on the right with their right hand and things on the left with their left hand. In this case, we have both hands equally skilled, not skilled enough, but when they actually do not avoid crossing the midline with the dominant hand, the right hand gets, let's say, more skilled. Why is it important? Because when they start school, they need to have one dominant hand instead of two less skilled hands. Because when it goes down to writing, they do it with one dominant hand. Another important point is reading. Let me find it here. Difficulty crossing the midline also makes it difficult to visually track a moving object, right? And it means that when they start reading from left to right, it makes it very hard for them to follow the line from left to right. So in this case, if this crossing midline skill is badly developed, it may delay reading skills. So that's why activities like running up the clock or like Miss Molly had it all. That's why it's very important when you actually cross this midline. All right, so when they cite these nursery rhymes, it also promotes oral language. And another important point, it is comprehension skills, because behind every nursery rhyme or finger play, there is a story with a simple plot, which is also important for children. All right. So make sure that you use or that you add some finger plays or nursery rhymes in your lesson. Another thing is attention grabbers. You know that children tend to get a little wild, especially when they have some interesting things to do, or if it was like a game where they had to run or stand up and move around the class. So sometimes it's really difficult to get them back to their seats and so make them calm enough to do something next, right? So for that, we use attention grabbers. Some of them quite simple, most of them quite simple. You can choose one and again use it within a week and then change to another one. For example, it sounds like that. Give me a clap, give me a clap, give me a snap, give me a snap. Now fold your hands and put in your lap. So, of course, when you do it, it's better that children respond with their claps or with their snaps and so on. Another one which is very popular and famous, I'm sure that most of you know it, but still, it goes like that. Hocus pocus, everybody focus. So you ask your children to put their focus goggles on and you ask them to, okay, put your focus goggles on. Now, can you please look at the book? What can you see here? Or can you count how many circles can you see in this picture? And so on. So it works with focus goggles. Then another one. Everybody have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Everybody have a seat on the floor, not on the ceiling, not on the door. Everybody have a seat on the floor. Well, I think it is useful in case you have circle time with your kids sitting on the carpet and doing something in a circle, right? Well, another one. So at first, this one sounded a bit strange, but actually when I tried it, it worked well. That looks very cute, and you really show that you care about your class and about your kids, so why not try this one? So you start asking your children, how does my teacher feel about me? And maybe you want together with them to rehearse the reply. I'm as special can be because my teacher believes in me. I think it is quite reassuring. You should try it. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And the children go, 1, 2, eyes on you. Like that. All right, so another one, you just put your hand up and you ask, and you shout or you say to your children, touch your nose if you can hear me. So you see that everybody touches their nose. Or you say, touch your cheeks if you can hear me. So you see them or you watch them touching their cheeks, or touch your ears if you can hear me, and so on. Another one is very simple, but still works. Hands on top, everybody stop. So you watch them putting their hands on their head and stop. Another one is based on the very famous song, which a lot of children know and sing quite well, Head and Shoulders. So it goes like head, shoulders, knees and lap, knees and lap. Head, shoulders, knees and lap, knees and lap. Legs are crisscross applesauce, and hands, I'm sorry, I cannot see it. And my hands are in my lap, in my lap. So you want them to sit down, to have their legs crisscross like that, and to have their hands in their lap. All right, so that is about attention grabbers. Okay, another thing is visual props. So guys, I think that it's not a secret that a classroom for young learners must be full of visual aids. For example, posters, pictures, charts, flashcards, and so on. It's very good if you have actual words there so that they can read, for example, colors, the chart or the poster with colors and with words, because of course they cannot read at the age of 5 or 4 or 3, but still it's the step up to literacy, because first it starts with visual literacy. They cannot read the word letter by letter, but they remember the image of the word. So they remember the word like a picture. Just a moment, let me see the chat. I can see some messages here. I'm not replying anything. Macaroni and cheese, everybody freeze. Yeah, Simon says is also a good one. It's true. Red Rover. Well, Scott, can you share Red Rover with us? I just don't know it. Okay, fine. So then, voice level chart. Again, that's a good thing. Mine looks like that. Just a sec. So you let them know how loud they can be. So you have this poster somewhere on the wall in the classroom. When it's okay and they can talk and it's only the beginning of the class and everybody's just like settling on their chairs, taking out their things out of their backpacks, you can say, okay, now you're loud lions. You can speak as loudly as you wish. Then, for example, when it's time for you to, I don't know, to do something like you take your books and I don't know, you just put the CD in the recorder. You can say, okay, now you're chatty chickens. You can talk, but not very loudly, and don't shout. It's not the break time. And whisper in whales. Maybe you want them to discuss something in groups. So you say, okay, now you can talk to each other, but please be whispering whales. Don't speak very loudly, so they just keep whispering. And when they do an activity which requires complete silence, you say, guys, you're quiet turtle now. Please do not make any sounds. And they sit quiet. Again, they can see the words. They cannot read them letter by letter, but they just remember the image of the word, so they can recognize it later. Or your voice level charts may look like that. Lots of ideas on the internet. You can adopt anything you want. All right. Then another thing which I learned from one of my colleagues, that is called sponsored silence. For example, you want them to be quiet for 5 minutes because they have to do something very complicated and they must be focused and concentrated. But, you know, it's very hard to make them sit quietly because still they want to whisper something or to talk about something. So you say, okay, if you are quiet within this 5 minutes, then everyone gets a sticker. So that is called sponsored silence. Well, actually, you bribe your children to be quiet for some time. All right. So the next thing is responsibilities. I think it's a good idea to delegate some of responsibilities to the learners so that they feel important in the class and that they are really meaningful to everybody. Okay, so can you give some ideas in the chat what kind of classroom jobs or classroom responsibilities we can delegate to our young learners? Clean the board. All right. Clean the workbook. Okay, maybe cleaning up. I see that is your like weakest point. Put toys back in the boxes. Okay. Give out something. Yeah. Bring pencils. I have a special job name for that. Give copies. Hand out some materials. Yeah. Put the chairs in a row. Teacher helper, yeah, okay, lots of them. Be my assistant. That's good, guys. So these are the jobs which I come up with. Oh no, where is the chat? So what I have here, weatherman. I'm sure that you at the beginning of each class, okay, I'm not sure about you, but it's true for me. At the beginning of every class, I discuss weather with my students. So maybe it's a good idea if you have a weather poster somewhere so that they can see the word sunny, windy, cloudy, foggy, and you make them or you teach them make positive and negative sentences like it's sunny today, it isn't windy today. You also teach them to add some adverbs like it's a bit sunny today, some adverbs, or it's a little windy today. So at least that's what I do with my class. So the weatherman is the person who gives the weather report at the beginning of the class. Then light patrol. Even if your class is in the middle of the day and it's light enough, let somebody to turn on and turn off the switcher just to denote the beginning of the class. Can be a good idea anyway. Policeman. If somebody breaks the rule in the class, then inevitably he will deal with the policeman, right? It's the person who can decide on the punishment, or a person who, for example, can give some points to the person. Okay, you got 2 points during the class. That's not very good. There will be consequences. Well, another job, postman. You wrote about giving or delivering handouts, which is good. So you have a special person who can deliver whatever you ask them to, like handouts, journals, stickers, anything. Calendar master. If they cannot say the date, it's okay. They can say the day of the week. For example, what day is it today? Where is the calendar master? Oh, it's Monday. Board cleaner for sure. Pencil pal. I'm not sure, but I think that it is true for everyone that when it goes down to coloring or drawing, then sharing pencils from one pencil box turns into a nightmare. So maybe if there's a pencil pal who can deal the pencils, it's like the solution for this problem, right? Everybody needs red, so the pencil pal goes and gives everyone red pencil. Artist. If you want to draw something during the class, you may ask an artist to do it for you. Door holder. All right. So when the lesson is over, you tell them not to run to the door. Before that, the door holder stands up, gently opens the door, and ushers his little colleagues out of the class. Ideally, it must work like that, or at least you can try to do it. So door holder keeps his job till the next class. So when the class starts, you ask the door holder to open the door and let students come in. Then water patrol. They often need a break in the middle of the class to go and drink some water. Maybe they are not really thirsty, but they just want to have a short break. So water patrol, maybe it's a person who stands near the cooler and controls if everyone drinks in turn, nobody pushes, or maybe he can even give out plastic cups with water. Then trash collector, not very noble, but very important. Maybe trash collector may have some extra sticker for doing his job very well. Okay, so this is about jobs. And well, what's good, you can print out some nice flashcards with the jobs so that they can randomly pull a card and have a new job each time, which is a nice idea. Well, the next thing is rules. Rules are also very important for young learners. How to make them follow the rules. First of all, design them together with them. Put them somewhere visible so that they can read them, or at least anytime somebody breaks the rule, you can refer to it and show, look, there's a rule, you shouldn't do this. Let the rules come from someone children admire. For example, that's what my rules poster would look like. My children are great fans of cartoon Paw Patrol. So if the rules come from Sky or Chase or Zuma, I think they'd be much happier to follow them. Let your learners know what happens when they break these rules. That is another thing. Okay, I'm going very quickly to rewards and punishment stuff. So like a punishment, or you can draw the following things on the board. There is a huge shark and there is a treasure chest. In the middle, you put stickers with the name of the kids. If they break the rules, then they move closer to the shark. If they follow the rules, or if they do something very well, they just go to the treasure chest. Magic garden. On the right side of the board, is it right? That is right. On the right side of the board, you draw trees where instead of flowers you can see ice creams. You draw candy floss, clouds in the sky. You draw pizza on the grass, and that is the magic garden. And again, on the left side of the board, you have stickers with the names of the kids. So if they do well in the class, or they do something like they do some tasks very well, they go to the magic garden step by step. So witch and the cauldron. You have the witch's cauldron on the board, and above the cauldron there are magnets, can be magnets, and each color for every student in the class. So if they misbehave, they go down to the witch's soup, to the cauldron. Appearing cat. Again, if somebody answers nicely or behaves nicely, you draw body parts of the cat. Ear, whiskers, nose, and at the end of the class, they may have a whole cat on the board. The marble jar, you can see it in the slide. So for everyone who does well in the class, you give one marble ball, and they just keep it in the jar. So at the end of the year, or maybe at the end of the month, they may have a full jar of these marble balls. Puzzles, okay, if they do well, you can give them a puzzle at the end of each class, a piece of puzzle. So by the end of the month or by the end of the week, they may assemble a whole puzzle. Okay, items of target vocabulary. Let me quickly show it. Okay, it's very easy to do in the class, because you just you write the names of your learners, and you draw them. Pears for a good answer, or apple, or you draw, I don't know, ice cream for a good answer. It's not possible to do it in Zoom, although you can use whiteboard for that, but you can also use the site which is called Padlet.com. Tanya's going to tell you more about it. And here in Zoom, you can just put them these marks. Just a sec. So you can give them hearts, for example. So, okay, Masha has a heart, then Anna has 2 hearts, and so on. So it may work like that. So, and the last thing, which I'm going to tell you about very quickly, that is stickers. It's not possible to give them stickers in Zoom, but there is a website called LOL Disney. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here you can, together with your class, create a very nice sticker book. I chose princesses because I'm in love with them. So you can choose different backgrounds, like this or like that. You can even choose a different princess which they like. You can do it together with the class. You can choose a dress, some accessories, and so on. You can do it as a reward for doing well in the lesson. One of the options. All right. Well, yeah, so my time is up, guys, and that's almost it I wanted to share with you. I hope that you found some useful ideas here. And yeah, I was really honored to be a part of the conference. Thanks a lot, guys. Okay. I'm just trying to give it back to Tatiana, but I cannot find her. Tanya, where are you? Okay. Okay, so Tanya's given me some tips. All right.
Okay, I just hit myself. I told you she's killing it. She knows everything about classroom management and wonderful, fantastic ideas. This is just amazing. You can use all of them online as well, right? Okay, so we're kind of out of time, but I think it was worth it. I think you got inspired, and you have a lot of ideas. Now let's have a look at the timetable that we have on our website. So we're supposed now to have a 20 minutes break. So what do you think? So do you need a 20 minutes break or a quick break for 10 minutes? And we're gonna start at 1. Type in the chat, what is easier for you? A longer break or a shorter break and then 20 minutes break? Oksana, yeah, thank you. Let's wait for some more ideas. Yeah, because it's kind of time to eat without breaks. Yay, that's the attitude. Yeah, you will get the recording, definitely. Yeah, okay, then let's have a 10 minutes break, quick one. Grab some soup and you can eat and watch us maybe, but then we just yeah. Okay, now 10 minutes break. At 1 we're going to start. Sounds good? Then see you in 10 minutes, and now while you will be eating, enjoy our interesting videos.
What's your name?
My name is Sasha.
Okay. Do you like it?
Yes. What are you doing? I'm doing pizza. Oh. What are you doing wrong? I am doing pizza.
We'd love to, dear customers,
But we're awfully sorry.
we will have a small problem. Today we will cook exotic fruit salad.
Fine. Thank you. Have your time.
Welcome. Thank Thank you. Card. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Jupiter, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune.
Very.
Hello, my name's Robert Fletcher and I'm the main tutor on this Delta course which we're running here in Krasnodar. I've been asked to answer some questions, and the first one is, how difficult is it to do Delta without CELTA? Okay, I wouldn't say it's more difficult, but it is different, and it is possible. We usually have on every course some people who don't have a CELTA, and on the one hand, it means they haven't got any habits which they obtained on the CELTA to get rid of, but on the other hand, they lack some of the groundwork, but inevitably they manage to catch up. So I wouldn't say that a CELTA is essential in order to do a Delta. Okay, the next question I have is, how many years of teaching experience do you need to do a Delta? I would say a minimum of 2 or 3 years. You need, on the Delta, you need to be able to talk about your experience, things you tried in classrooms and things which have worked. So you do definitely need experience, preferably in a private language school with paying clients. So experience is essential. How long is the course? It depends on what course you do. Here in LanguageLink, we do a 6-week Module 2 course. So that's how long it takes, 6 weeks. Other places do an 8-week course covering some of all 3 modules, and it is possible to do it extensively over a year. Personally, I like the 6-week course because it gets it done and quickly and out of the way. It says here, does it make sense to do Delta if a teacher works one-to-one or online? I think it always makes sense to do a Delta because it makes your teaching more principled. You don't just go through routines, you know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it and what the justification is for whatever you're doing. The next question I have is, what's the difference between CELTA and Delta? Well, that's like asking what's the difference between apples and oranges. They're completely different. A CELTA is a course which you do at the beginning of your teaching. It lays down the basics, the fundamentals. A Delta is at the level of a master's. So it's something you do after a few years. When you feel that your teaching isn't going anywhere, that's the time to do a Delta, to develop yourself further and go to the next level in your career. 6, the question I have is, why do teachers do them and what's the advantage of having these certificates? Well, in the international forum, it's almost impossible to get a job in teaching English as a foreign language if you haven't got at least a CELTA. CELTA is required all over the world, and in many countries it's a visa requirement. Delta is not a basic requirement, although it's becoming much more of a basic requirement to teach in the UK. Delta is a basic requirement if you wish to go further. For example, a job as a senior teacher, a director of studies, or to eventually become a teacher trainer. You must have the Delta. Now, is there any difference between doing the courses in Russia and abroad? Absolutely not. To me, Russia is abroad because I'm British. Yeah, so wherever you do it, it's governed by Cambridge. You might get the same tutors anywhere in the world, and it's the same course, so it makes absolutely no difference at all. The important thing is where you're going to be comfortable, what the price is, and so on. So, you know, a Delta is a Delta wherever you go. The next question I have is, what were your impressions from running the course in Language Link? Was the course well organised? Absolutely, yeah. I've run courses here before and the organisation is wonderful. Everything is exactly the way I would want it. The classrooms are modern, clean, pleasant, the students are all nice, and the candidates all qualified at the correct level to do the course. So I would say that Language Link is an excellent place for you to do either your CELTA or Delta certificate.
Okay, hello. This is the final week of our super intensive Delta course in Krasnodar, which was really challenging, hard, sometimes even stressful, but still we've managed to come through this course. Mostly thanks to our tutors. Juliana and Robert were so helpful and they were so supportive, and thanks to them and their great job, we've managed to survive. I did my CELTA course 9 years ago in England, and I can say that there was no difference between English course and summer course in Russia. The course is really intensive. We've done a lot of research, and I'm sure I'll benefit a lot from that. I hope to become a teacher trainee in the future, and I'm sure that all the knowledge that I've got during this course will help me a lot in my future professional development.
Okay, guys, are we ready? Quick break, short break, 10 minutes, and we are all ready to start. As you heard in this video, Delta course in Russia, namely in Rostov and Krasnodar, with Language Link is no different from the one in England. And I'm honored to invite our main course tutor, Yuliana Nikolaevna Chernikova. She's here. Hello. Yeah, you can just adapt the video so that we could see your face. Just lean your camera to yourself. Good. Oh, great. And I'm disappearing. Yeah, you can switch off your sound, switch on your sound.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, it's story time. It's story time. Look and listen, everyone. Okay. So a lot has been said today about activities to energize children and adults, right? And my storytelling, actually, usually people think that only kids like stories, okay? But I would like to change your opinion, maybe, if I'm lucky, right? And to tell you how to tell stories with adults, first of all, right? By the end of the presentation, I will show you a couple of activities which you can do with kids as well, but we'll start with adults. So why storytelling? I've got some nice quotes here. And I like the second one most of all. Well, to tell you the truth, I hated history in school, but this is something nice said by Kipling. If history were taught in the form of stories, it would never be forgotten, which I think it's true. Okay. Another good one is the best way to improve your knowledge of a foreign language is to go and live there. Okay. But if you can't, then you must read in it, right? So that is why storytelling is important for learning. So there are different types of stories. we have short stories, we have fairy tales, we have personal anecdotes, and we have real life stories. Well, and actually, our life actually consists of telling stories. On a daily basis, we share some stories, we exchange anecdotes, we share real life stories, and we show our reactions. Why are stories important? Our brain actually is wired for story. From the very childhood, we listen to stories, we listen to fairy tales. Storytelling kindles students' reading skills. If you remember yourselves as kids, or if you teach young learners, you probably noticed that even before kids start reading, they can somehow show you that they can read stories without even actually realizing that they are reading, because these stories are repetitive. If you tell them every day, if you tell the same stories, children remember them, and then they kind of pretend reading, okay? And this, of course, promotes the development of their reading skills. Through stories, learning happens subconsciously. Students, either kids or adults, do not even realize that they are learning something, because all these stories have, as I said, repetitive language. They have some useful lexical chunks. Grammar is repeated, okay? And subconsciously, we start remembering useful chunks of language. Stories encourage interaction. So after reading a story, like I said, we share it, we talk about it, we discuss it. They offer us food for thought. And of course, in storytelling has a significant influence on our students' writing skills. All of us know that writing is looked upon as a chore in the classroom. So students hate writing. I hate writing myself. So through stories, we can actually encourage learners to write more. Okay. Stories can be authentic, and using authentic materials is always motivating. I think yesterday, Victoria told you something about authenticity. Stories can educate not just the language learning, but we can expose students to culture, to values. We can actually exploit CLIL, and I'll give you an example today. Okay. Usually when we read a story, we imagine scenes, we attach ourselves to characters, we react emotionally. So stories develop us not only linguistically, but also socially and emotionally. And of course, it's a nice change from using a traditional course book or textbook. So when you do storytelling, you should follow a PDP cycle: pre-story stage, during story stage, and post-story stage. Now we'll have a look at some of the activities which you can do in each stage. Some of them are interchangeable, interrelated, okay? And sometimes you can repeat the same activity in pre and during or post story stage. So let's start with the pre-story stage. Prediction is a nice activity. So before you start telling a story, either to adults or kids, it's nice to elicit predictions. And how can we do that? Of course, using the title of the story, using some pictures, some images. All right. And this is probably the most important part of our task because we need to ensure the engagement with the story, okay? We need to arouse our students' curiosity. So, like I said, you can exploit the title, you can exploit the topic, setting the scene, we can use the props, pictures, questions for plot prediction. We can use word clouds, okay, using the words which might appear in the story. Keywords or sentences, we'll have a closer look at each of them now. You can mime a part of a story and ask your students to predict what the story is going to be about. Okay. Okay, my story for today is Death by Scrabble by Charlie Fish, right? And for the first activity, I would ask my students to look at the title, at the picture, and try to predict what the story is going to be about. Okay. All right. You might have ideas, or some of you might have read the story. Okay, you can easily find it on the internet. I'm not going to tell you what the story is about. I will keep you in suspense. You can read the story after the presentation. Okay, this is the first prediction activity. I might ask my students to guess the plot by giving them the topic. For example, I'm going to tell you a story about people playing Scrabble. What do you know about this game? Have you ever played it? Okay, so and they can discuss it in pairs, in groups, all right? And then they can come up with their idea what the story is going to be about. I can show them some pictures from the story, okay? What is the story behind these pictures? What do you think happened? How are they linked to Scrabble? For example, what does the bee have to do with Scrabble? Well, usually such activities actually they lead to great discussions, and students use, you know, especially teenagers, they have very nice activities. And by the way, I tried the same activity with my teacher trainees and with my students. And you know who gave me better ideas? Of course, the students, right? Somehow they are more imaginative. They have better ideas, and they can come up with really wild ideas for the stories. Okay, so these are the words. This is my word cloud, and these words appear in the story. So you can ask your students to look at the words, okay, and come up with the story, okay, or make sentences, the most important sentences describing the plot of the story. Okay, this one is quite complicated. You can come with an easier one. The next one is easier because I have only keywords here, the keywords from this story. Hate my wife, I'd be doing something interesting, kill, beaten me, murderous words, throat swells, fall to the floor. Okay, what is the story going to be about? Again, you conjure up, you kindle your students' imagination, and you get them to conjure up a picture in their minds. So before they start reading, or before you start telling them the story, they already have their own picture in their minds. And it's always interesting to compare what you've got in your mind and what really happens. If you, I don't know about you, but for me, it's always interesting to watch a film after I have read a book. And in most cases, I'm disappointed. You know why? Because I had my own imagination. I had my own attachment to the characters. I imagined their appearance, their emotions, the scenes, and then somehow, okay, the film directors had something different in their minds, right? And I don't know why, for me, it's always a disappointment. Okay, you can give them an expert from a story. So this is the first paragraph of my story. It's a hot day and I hate my wife. We are playing Scrabble. That's how bad it is. I'm 42 years old. It's a blistering hot sunny afternoon. And all I can think of to do with my life is to play Scrabble. So what kind of story is it going to be? You can elicit the genre. So is it a detective story or is it a love story? Okay. Why is it bad to play Scrabble? What can you say about the man's life? Okay. Again, try to elicit as many ideas as possible. Well, I'm not telling you that you should do all these activities in the pre-story stage. Okay. Try to choose some of them. Okay. And then you can alternate. So this time you use a couple of these, next time a couple of those, and so on. Okay. You can set the scene. Imagine it's a blistering hot Sunday afternoon. Okay, so what can you do on a blistering hot Sunday afternoon? Okay, what do you usually do on such a day? Okay. Okay, how are you feeling about the weather? Describe the weather. You can even ask them to draw a scene, okay, and then give them only the first paragraph to compare, because the first paragraph always sets the scene. You can give them a key sentence. It's a blistering hot Sunday afternoon and all I can think of to do with my life is to play Scrabble. And then ask them to answer these WH questions. Okay, who do you think the main character is? When does the story happen? Where? What's going to happen or what's happening? Why? And how is he feeling, for example, or how is the story going to unfold? Okay. Another idea is to give them the first and the last line of the story. It's a hot day and I hate my wife. The last line of the story is I fall to the floor. My wife just sits there watching. So what's in between? What happened? And here, by the way, you can induce them to write a story. Yeah, that's how we can combine storytelling with writing. Okay, they usually produce some masterpieces, actually, and then when they read the original, they have a lot of fun. While reading, there is a nice technique, pause and predict. So you read paragraph by paragraph, stopping and asking your students to predict what's going to happen next. Okay. This kind of technique, by the way, is called dialogical or interactive storytelling. So it's not only you who tells the story, but you involve your students into the storytelling. Okay. There's a good one. It's called enriching the story. So when you give them a story skeleton and you ask them to enrich it. For example, there's a man came into a pub. Describe the pub. So you ask your students to describe a pub. For example, it's crowded, it's smoky, it's dark, it's very old, and so on. So the man, John, his name is John, he came to the bartender and ordered 3 pints of beer. What does the bartender think about him? So elicit the ideas. Maybe he thought that he's a drunkard, or he drinks too much, or he's waiting for two of his friends to join him. The man, John, sits down, drinks from the first one, then from the second, then from the third one again. What does the barman think? Weird person, probably, right? Okay, the next day, John comes to the pub again and orders 2 pints of beer. What does the bartender ask him? Well, probably he asked him what happened, okay? Or why are you drinking only 2 pints of beer today, right? And John explains that he has 2 brothers. One of them lives in Australia and the other in New Zealand. And only they drink today, he gave up, okay? So this is an interactive storytelling or dialogical storytelling when your students try to enrich the story. Okay. Okay, I'll skip this. Right. While telling a story, to keep our learners focused and to make sure they follow you, we can ask them questions, right? For example, it was a hot, blistering day, and I had nothing to do but only to play Scrabble. So what kind of day was it? So after every couple of sentences, ask them questions. So actually you keep them focused and you check their comprehension, okay? All right, so during the story, there are some activities which you might find useful. Story S because it's story starting from an S, so you give them a sheet of paper with a huge S, okay? And while you're telling your story, they're supposed to draw these scenes from the story, okay? Or some images. Okay, I understand that not all of us are good drawers. I actually am, I'm useless at this. So, but they can either, maybe they can write keywords, okay, or they might draw images or pictures or even, you know, these sticky persons, it always works. And after that, they actually sit together and they exchange their drawings and try to retell the story using the prompts, the images, the keywords, whatever they have on their S. Story freeze frames. Well, I hope you know what a freeze frame is, okay? So it's a very active activity. So while you're telling your story, the learners are miming it, okay? And once you stop, they freeze, okay? It's like our game «Море волнуется раз», okay? It's a lot of fun. It increases concentration, it makes them focused, it checks comprehension because they have to mime what they understand during your storytelling, okay? And then they have to be very attentive to stop and freeze, okay? So miming, I mentioned that. Dialogical or dialogues from the story, or I think you, most of you have practiced this activity. So you choose a dialogue and students perform it. You can give them actual different emotions to spice it up, okay? Retelling from different points of view, okay? You can actually make it more fun if they keep their roles secret, okay? For example, I might retell my story from the point of view of the clock in the kitchen or from the point of view of my dog, okay? And the others have to guess who I am, right? So role play, interviewing characters, or interviewing, you might actually try an imaginary interview of the author of the story. Okay, for example, this one, I would like to interview this guy about death in Scrabble. Okay, asking students to write different endings. Again, I'm linking it to writing here. Okay, just ask them to write a paragraph of about 10 sentences, okay, with different endings, and then you could have a vote for the best ending or for the craziest, for the wildest ending of the story. Okay. Balloon debate. So put all the characters into a hot air balloon. Okay. Give your students roles, so each of them will be a character. So suddenly the hot air balloon starts to fall down and one of the characters has to jump out. It's not a very humane version of this game, but still, students have a lot of fun, they enjoy it. So they have to prove that they are the most important character of this story and they have to survive. Okay. You can ask them to retell the same story in different styles, okay, giving them different emotions, okay, and here we actually, they will need to employ their artistic skills. By the way, it's very important, so drama helps a lot with language learning. After the reading or telling a story, you can ask them to create a sales pitch around the story. So imagine you are a marketing specialist, okay? How would you arouse people's interest in this story? Try to sell this story, okay? What kind of slogan would you create to sell this story? For example, this story will change your views about, this story will change your life because, and so on. And again, it involves writing. They can make posters actually. Can you think of 5 reasons why people should listen to or read this story? Again, you put them in groups, they come up with their 5 reasons, or you can do it as a pyramid discussion. For example, you start with individual students, they come up with 5 reasons, then they pair them up, they decide on their 5 reasons together, then in groups of 3, and then finally as a whole class, they come up with 5 reasons why this story might be interesting. You could ask them to think of the visuals to accompany the design of the poster advertising the story. Okay. They can even come with a video commercial for this story and find some advertising jingle for the story or music to accompany it, some background music. Right? And actually all these activities actually they will turn into project work which might take more than 1 lesson, right? And as it takes more than 1 lesson, the story becomes more memorable. And like I said, the subconscious learning is happening. So retention is better. They will be using some chunks from the story. They'll be using not only lexis, but grammar as well, okay? And there will be a lot of emergent language, okay, which you might help with. Even if they don't know, okay, encourage Russian. Okay, put your ideas in Russian, I will help you with translation. If it's a mixed ability group, for example. Yesterday, Antonina mentioned some nice activities, right? Okay. So we mentioned dialogical storytelling. You can read a lot about dialogical storytelling in Jamie Caddy. You can Google him and you will find his blog. He talks a lot about dialogical storytelling, okay? You can ask your learners to email a character and get a reply, right? Well, in this case, so I would just ask, I would give them roles, I would give them characters, and they would email to their peers, okay, and get a reply. And this will be the whole class writing activity. You might spend 40 minutes on that. Producing posters, profiles, for example, a character missing or wanted, okay. Write what hasn't been said. Okay, usually there is a lot to infer from the stories, a lot which can be read between the lines. Okay, well, this activity is of course for higher level students, and this is good for inference skills, especially helpful if you prepare your students for CAE or CPE exams, because there is a lot to be inferred from reading texts there. Another activity I found useful is suitcase language. So usually I ask my students to decide which words they liked from a story and they would like to put in a suitcase and take away with them for future use, or to store them in a fridge, okay, and use later, or which words they hated, put them in a dustbin. Can you guess which words they remember better? Of course, those which are in a dustbin. Okay, again, it's a psychological trick. If you don't like a word, get rid of it, write it on a piece of paper, okay, crumble it, get rid of it, you will remember it forever, okay. We recently discovered story cubes. I'll show you an example. This is just one of the examples. You can find a lot of them on the internet. We bought some sets and have been using them successfully. So you put your students in groups, give them a set of story cubes, and then they produce a story. Or actually, they have to take a cube randomly, make a sentence, okay? The next person takes another cube, makes the logical connection to the previous sentence. Good to practice past tenses, good to practice cohesive devices like linkers, all right? And again, they have to listen to each other, because what happens when you ask your students to retell something? Nobody cares, nobody listens, right? Here they have to collaborate, they have to listen to each other, they have to make their story cohesive and coherent. Okay, and if you give them the identical sets of cubes, believe me, each group will come up with an absolutely different story. Okay, here are some links for interactive storytelling and dialogical storytelling. You can Google Jamie Caddy and enjoy his lessons. And now I would like to tell you a little bit about stories for kids. So what usually happens when we tell a story? For example, my story is Red Riding Hood. Imagine you have a group of 10 or 15 students. How many characters are there in this story? So we have the girl, her grandmother, her mother, wolf, yes, and we have the hunters, yeah, a couple of them, if I'm not mistaken, okay? Just 5 or 6 characters. Can you imagine you have 10 or 15 students, and if you want to act out this story, what are the others going to do? Nothing. There is a way out. We can actually link this storytelling to CLIL and tell your group that imagine we have our magic wood. And in this magic wood, try to elicit what can they find in the magic wood. So they can find all kinds of trees, birds, yes, animals, They can hear different sounds, okay? And then everybody will have a role. Some kids will be trees, and they will be different kinds of trees, and they must learn something about their kind of tree, like an oak tree. Yeah, they must know that oak trees live for a long time, they're very strong, and so on. Some students will be insects, some of them will be animals, okay? And here is our little girl, okay? So the little girl will greet every tree on her way to her granny, okay? And here again, pay attention, we will have a repetitive language. We will practice the same chunks of language. Hello, I'm a little Red Riding Hood. Who are you? I'm a tree. What have you got in your basket? Okay, and then you can add more questions. Okay, what kind of tree are you? Okay, how old are you? And so on. Okay. And in this forest, you can also find all kinds of flowers. Our krill again, right? We can have a fairy. Okay, we even have a giant, but a very kind one, because we have a good magic wood. Yeah. And the Riding Hood will meet all of them on her way and greet all of them and ask the same kinds of questions. All right. We even have a wizard and a pirate. Okay, you see how many roles we already have. Okay, then we can practice actually different kinds of walking, right? So the Riding Hood, the girl, she can skip, right? Other animals, yeah, they can stroll or they can march, yes. So again, there is a lot of language involved here. So you turn this simple story into something magical for them. Okay. And then you can have a human orchestra. Actually, you can add sounds, yes? So if it's a magic forest, so what kind of sounds can you hear, right? So you can have a conductor, right? And your class will play the human orchestra producing the sounds, okay? Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, loud, soft, okay? Here we can have onomatopoeic devices like what different insects, how they sound, okay? How different animals sound, what sounds they produce, okay? And this is already a drama activity. It's not just storytelling. You turn it into actually a very productive language activity, because they will learn a lot more language than in the story, okay? Because they will have to learn about the trees, the plants, the animals. They will also have to exploit their artistic skills, their drama skills, right? Okay. You can also involve the weather, okay, and give them these emojis. Yeah, okay. Look, what's that? What's the weather like today? Okay, and you can actually develop the story. It can happen not in one day, but in a couple or 3 days, actually. The little Red Riding Hood spends a lot of time in the wood, meeting a lot of creatures, a lot of animals, a lot of trees and plants. The weather might change. So if it's England, it's always changing, okay? So you can exploit the weather vocabulary. Okay. All right, just try to be more imaginative. Yeah, storytelling is not just storytelling. It can involve a lot, not only in terms of language, but also in terms of social and emotional skills development. Okay, yeah, like I said, so a lot of language can be recycled and put into circulation. You can even have, what have you got in your basket? So apart from the pies, you can add fruit into your basket, okay? Or you can ask actually the trees what kind of fruit are growing on the trees, okay? You can exploit feelings. How are you feeling today? What's the weather like today? So this is all about CLIL component. Okay, and I also wanted to demonstrate another story for kids. Okay. Yes, okay. So this is a very famous book. Unfortunately, they stopped publishing them. It's a huge book, which can be done interactively with kids, Dear Zoo. But I can show you how you can exploit it for CLIL as well, right? So this is very simple. You do it together with kids. I wanted to have a pet, and I wrote a letter to the zoo. And they sent me. So if you have a real book, they can open the boxes and check. But before that, they should guess, okay, what is in the box, right? And they sent me, and so you try to elicit from the kids, okay, what it is. Okay, an elephant. Oh my God, an elephant. Was my mother happy? I guess not, because the elephant is too big. And I wrote another letter to the zoo, and they sent me, and again, they can open the box, you try to elicit, okay? They sent me a giraffe. And my mother was not happy again because the giraffe is too big, right? So I wrote another letter to the zoo, and they sent me a tiger. Oh no, a lion, a lion. And my mother was angry because the lion is too dangerous. So I wrote another letter to the zoo, and this time they sent me a camel. My mother didn't want to have a camel because a camel was too grumpy. Okay, so you see the language is repeated all the time. So we have the same structure all the time. So I wrote another letter to the zoo, and they sent me, what's this? A snake. And my mother was not happy again because the snake was too scary. So I wrote another letter to the zoo. And they sent me a monkey. I was happy, but my mother wasn't, because the monkey was too naughty. And I wrote another letter to the zoo. Okay. And they sent me a frog. A frog was too jumpy, so we sent him back to the zoo. And I wrote another letter to the zoo. And finally, I had a perfect pet. Who do you think it was? A puppy. So my mother was happy. Okay. Right. So after telling this story, you can do the following. Okay. You give Of course, you can practice these structures, too grumpy, too jumpy, practice the animals, all right? But then you try to exploit their higher order thinking skills, okay? You give them the cages, all right? You ask them to first match the animals to the cages, okay? And then in groups, they have to decide which animals could stay safely together. For example, could you put a lion together with a frog? I don't know, maybe, but they need to justify their choices, okay? Again, you go beyond your story, okay? You try to exploit their world knowledge, what they know about the animals, how they can survive together, right? Whether they are dangerous or not to stay together, and so on. And finally, you can turn it into an interaction. You can find someone who, okay, I like, I don't like, because, for example, Juliana, I don't like monkeys, I don't like frogs, elephants, snakes, but I like puppies, I like dogs, I'm a dog person. So students will interact, well, they will go and ask each other questions. Do you like? If they are or higher level, you can ask them why, okay? Again, justification of the choice will go beyond linguistic skills, okay? And they will have to employ their world knowledge, okay? That's how we can combine storytelling with CLIL, right? Okay, that's all what I wanted to talk about today. Here is my email if you have questions. Well, by the way, I will ask, I have another session today, so I will ask all your questions if you have at the end of the day, if you don't mind, okay? Thank you very much. And now I will try to find Tatiana.